PB Elder Law is the only firm in Western New York that is dedicated to elder law. And did you know you need more than just a will to protect you from probate? Let's go find out more.
This question, because there's
Amanda Scott is an attorney at the firm.
A will is actually the legal document that is going to control probate. Probate is a legal proceeding that occurs in the courts if someone passes away and there's assets that are owned in their name alone at the time of their death. A revocable trust is actually a document that someone can set up prior to death. It's a new legal agreement that will be structured to own assets. So the grantor, the creator of the trust, would move their assets into this trust and it becomes a new entity. The trust itself would own and manage these assets, and the trust allows assets to pass outside of probate. They would pass automatically upon the grantor's death.
What is probate?
Probate is a legal proceeding that occurs in the surrogate's court anytime someone passes away and there's assets that are owned in their name alone, meaning there's no beneficiary or joint owner, the asset is not held in a trust. This court proceeding must occur in order to transfer legal ownership of the asset to the intended beneficiaries. So probate is a minimum 7-month-long proceeding. There is a series of paperwork that is submitted to the surrogate's court in order to either admit the will, the last will and testament, to the probate court, or if there is no last will and testament, then we follow the laws of intestacy, and basically the law would control where assets are transferred after death. So the probate proceeding is really just a legal proceeding that occurs in order to transfer legal ownership of assets to beneficiaries.
That sounds expensive. That sounds like it might eat away at any of your estate assets. Is this one of the pitfalls of probate?
Absolutely. The downside to probate is that there are considerable costs involved, including court filing fees and, of course, attorney's fees. If we run into any complications, such as a will contest, this can cost the estate an enormous amount of money.
This sounds like something that you definitely need to be speaking with lawyers about.
Yes, I agree.
What is the process if someone does want to find out more?
Sure. So we offer that clients can call us anytime. We're happy to answer questions. You can call us or come in for a consultation. We can sit down with people and really go through everything, big picture as far as what they should be thinking about. We can look at their unique circumstances and try to help them understand really what it is they should be thinking about for themselves, preserving their assets, making sure that their wishes are followed, whether it's in a crisis or after passing.